is Alexander. Shabbat for three. Bingo!
Kobe will get it for the win. Got it! He is hard to believe.
Here's Jordan.
Yes! The Magic, a 360 turn with the dribble. Magic down the middle. Gives underneath to Worthy. Slam dunk.
Third in the corner. Double fake.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Dime Dropper, a special episode. First, remember, before we get started, to subscribe on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Dime Dropper Pod, and to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and follow us on Spotify, and of course, most importantly, subscribe on YouTube at Dime Dropper Podcast. So for today's episode, we're going to go a little bit away from the basketball court as we end a year that has changed everyone's life. 2020, a year that we want to forget but we'll never forget.
Right.
To talk about it all, we have a first-time guest, new addition to the Rogues Gallery, my good friend, Shane Williams, LA native, and a good friend of mine from high school until to this day. Yeah. Shane, welcome to the podcast, bro.
Man, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. I'm proud of you. I'm glad to be here. You know, you're getting your dreams going, you know, off the floor.
Off the floor. We couldn't get him on the floor.
Yeah.
Neither of us could.
Yeah, right. I wish. Our real dream.
Hey, you got to the Arco Arena though.
A little bit.
The Sacramento Kings.
A little bit. Yeah. I played a little high school ball. I made it to state championship. You know, I'm playing in old Sacramento Kings Stadium. But you know, I'm glad that you're getting your dreams. You know, your true dreams.
Hell
you know,
yeah,
up
bro.
off the floor and
appreciate it.
Getting it going. You know, it's been a journey. You know, but I'm loving it. I'm loving every flaw. You know, every perfection. You know, and I'm ready to get going.
Let's do it.
Glad to
So
be here.
let's start out with, you know, let's just go through. We're just going to talk about 2020 from our perspective and just some of the main things. It's crazy because we started 2020, and we're going to get to the Rona in a second, but we started with 2020, and we thought it was just going to be another year.
No idea.
No idea of this. Somebody said the coronavirus.
Nobody could have guessed.
We would have thought about a Corona beer.
Yeah.
And then moving past that, then the next thing that happened, also very negative. I don't want to harp on it too much because we've talked about it a lot on the show, but Kobe Bryant's accident and all that.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. When that happened, I don't know what it was, but I was wearing masks like around that same time. I know it happened like at the end of January, end of January.
January 26th.
Around that time, yeah. And I know like coronavirus wasn't really a thing back then, but like, it was, you know, but not
spread in the U.S. yet.
Not as severely as it is now. And I was walking around with a Kobe mask, you know, I had a mask and it said Kobe on it. And I actually, I don't know what it was, but it was just something in me that was like, yeah, I just need to represent Kobe, you know, because I've never grew up a Kobe fan, you know, I never grew up like loving and admiring Kobe as, you know, a lot of LA natives did. But obviously, you know, as time went on and, you know, he retired and we saw, you know, we were able to look back, you know, and really cherish Kobe, you know, for what it is, you know, being for what he was. You know, I obviously grew to love and respect and admire Kobe, and so it definitely hit. You know, that tragic incident, it definitely hit, and I just felt like I needed to pay my respects and take him everywhere I went. You know, so I wrote Kobe, you know, forever on my mask, 824, and I wore that mask for a good amount of time. You know, just to represent, you know, the admiration and the inspiration that he brought me. But yeah, that was definitely one of the most tragic incidents of 2020.
It was because that was the beginning of like an apocalypse.
That was the beginning of an avalanche.
Yeah, it was crazy because that was the first time ever where I'd, you know, obviously we've been around for a lot of like celebrities and stuff that we cared about to die and stuff, but that was the first time where like I really felt like similar feelings I got when my grandparents died.
Like it wasn't just celebrity.
I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
I was like this pain in my chest for like so long. Even when I think about it now, it still hurts. And because I remember I was in Massachusetts in college and like I wasn't around all you guys. So like I just wanted to be able to be home, give everybody a hug. Like,
of course.
I wanted to be around the fam, like everybody there. Like obviously Celtics fans and stuff, they know they respect Kobe a lot. You know what I'm saying? But it's not the same. That's their Brady. So unless Tom Brady died, they would not understand what it feels like. It wouldn't
really harp on it as much. You know.
No, it was.
I thought it was a joke.
I know. Everyone did.
It was a joke. I
got woken up with that news.
I was woken up by our man, you know, the group chat that we're in, and everybody's blowing up, you know, and I couldn't believe it. Kobe.
I still can't, man.
Kobe,
an invincible human
in a helicopter too. You know, that's That's a sick
The
way to
saddest
go
thing
out,
is the young girls and stuff in the
Sick
team.
way to
That's
go out.
even worse.
Sick way to go out. Yeah, and Gianna.
But yeah,
It's just sick. It's just sick.
doing our best here on Dime Dropper to keep the legacy alive, make as much Kobe content. We have something
Right.
planned for his for the 1 year since, so we're gonna have some episodes for that.
That's dope.
But yeah, that was, I mean, literally, as I said, like a family member. I could not stop thinking about it. It was pain in my. I remember when at first I didn't even want to look. I was just looking at my phone and I just couldn't look up at the TV. I couldn't do anything. It was unlike anything I've ever seen with
get on
any
social
celebrity.
media.
But you know what? Before we had the Rona, we had a couple of weeks or months, like within February, where it was actually like seemed like the normal year still. How were those months for you? Like we were still in college, senior year, living the dream.
I was finishing I just finished up my last year at LMU, Loyola Marymount University, and so obviously that previous semester, January, February, March, April, May, was my last semester, and so that was what I was going through, in my period of life at that point, and so I was just really focused on college, really I was working on getting some jobs. Getting in the market after college, but February was definitely the stay clear, like, all right,
only part of that was normal.
Yeah, maybe we might have a good year. January wasn't off to the best. But February came around and we were like, all right, this is cool. And then even the beginning half of March, up until, because I remember when everything started closing down, I was on spring break. Or I was coming back from spring break.
Oh, so what, you guys had spring break a little early.
Yeah,
mine
we had
was
spring break like the first or second week of March.
Mine was second week of March.
Yeah, I think it might have been first. Because it was it was the end of our spring break was when everything started. So even the first half of March, it was cool. It was just going fine. We're just steering clear of everything, and I'm worried. I'm focused. I'm focusing on graduating college. Getting that diploma, which it's. Still,
doesn't feel complete.
Still doesn't feel complete.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But yeah, February was cool for me. I didn't really have any too much eventful stuff going on. But man, I guess I was just preparing for the worst at that point.
I remember the first. So I remember the first week of March or so. We were not here. People were talking about it in my house, like. Oh, there's a chance that there's a chance this virus is going to spread to America and then we're going to shut down schools. I'm like, you can't. What do you mean shut down schools?
How's that going to work?
How's that going to work? What are you talking about?
Months in, we're like, oh my god, how's this not?
We're not going to, like, my senior year is not just going to be taken away. Like, they're not going to do that to me. And little did I know the severity of it. And then I remember when the news came out that the first couple colleges in the Northeast were closing down. It was around, I want to say, March 8th or 9th. And we started, that was just like a Monday. And I was so scared. I was like, is my senior year going to collapse?
Yeah, I remember you were lucky, like the first one that was like big on that. I was just like, calm down. We're going to get our senior year. We're going to be all right. We're going to have graduation. But looking back on it, you were one of the few people I knew that were really like taking it as seriously as it was, especially for college graduates,
especially for my school because you're LMU's in LA, so you do a lot of LA things.
I'm here, I've been in LA for all my life, but being out, thousands of miles away from home
in a small college town that if college ain't happening, there's nothing going on. It's ghost town. In Amherst, Massachusetts, when there's not school, it ain't the same zoo. So I remember hearing about it was I think March 10th. And Amherst College closed down, and I was like, we're going down. Yeah. And then March 11th is when the NBA shut down. Yeah. Everybody's like, okay, these schools are all closing temporarily. Right. And then within
they closed it for like a week or so.
A couple of weeks after spring break. They're like, come back after spring break.
Yeah, they just extended spring break.
That's another reason why I had you on this episode, because we were both part of the... any kid that's graduated high school or college in this year is unlike any other class that's ever been a thing.
Class
that
of COVID.
Didn't actually graduate, because I can't think of decades past. There's never not been May or June ceremonies for these kids. Yeah. So I had to bring somebody on that had experienced that. So and
it was terrible.
Terrible, bro. Because I remember
Still is.
March 11th. That's what's one of the saddest days. March 13th, the NBA shut down. I was like, okay, now what do I do? Like, me, we're basketball junkies. So like, what the fuck are we about to do? And then we started hearing all the stores are closing down, restaurants were like, what is happening?
Everyone was spazzing out, trying to hibernate and
those first couple of days were crazy.
Yeah.
Because we started hearing what's happening in other countries, and they're like, okay, you guys are gonna go on lockdown.
Yeah, I remember seeing a few videos of people in like Italy like doing yoga from their balconies, like couldn't leave their house and stuff. I'm like, dang, is that really what it's come to? is that really what we're about to come to? You know, as a country, like, dang.
And it's crazy.
And that's when it started hitting me. You know, once I started seeing other countries and the way that they were reacting to it, and the way that they were, you know, taking on the situation, I was like, damn, like, is that really how? Is that what it's about to come to? You know, like, is this really like
Just
where we
not being able to
this is not the life that I imagine living. You know, this is not the
that
life
we've
that
lived.
you know, this is not the life that I would prefer. And so, and it all hit, and it all hit fast too. Like, it hit fast. I was supposed to. My birthday is in April, and I was supposed to go. I was supposed to take a trip. You know, and out of nowhere, I had the trip booked for months and months and. Around like April, May is like when it really started. Like, everybody started like locking down. You know, started getting really
April was bad.
Yeah, it started
really
getting
bad.
like really bad. You know, and so they canceled my flights, and I'm like, dang, like I can't even take a trip anymore. You know, like, obviously, you know, with everything
May
going
was
on,
bad,
you know, it was you know, rightfully so. But at the end of the day, you know, I was like, I can't even live my life anymore. Like, I like freedom. You know, I like being able to get up and do what, you know, like I want to do. You know, I don't want to have any restraints, any restrictions. And COVID just put a whole lot of restrictions on, you know, on life.
Just
on
not being
freedom.
able to hang. The biggest thing is just not being able to be in crowds of like over 10 people.
Yeah.
That changes everything in life. That changes restaurants, changes hanging out with people. Like, I can't wait till the next time I can like not
walk into a room and not have to ask, oh, are we doing hugs? You know,
that's what I was
like,
about to say. I was about to say
can
that.
I shake your hand?
Yeah,
you know,
I don't
like
want to have to
that's,
think
that's
about that
awkward.
anymore.
You know, like I want it to be genuine.
Like,
you
could
know?
you imagine? We used to go to grocery stores and places and see people's regular faces, not no mask shit.
Right.
It's insane. It's insane. Do you think that when we end, whenever that is, do you think it's gonna be like, oh, it's like we never left? Or do you think it's gonna be like, this is weird that we're back to normal?
I think it's gonna be weird.
Yeah, me too. It's been too long.
Especially because we don't know when it's gonna end, and two, when it does end, it's going to be, you know, 9 months already. Being that we're 9 months into, you know, the whole pandemic, that's already a long time. You know, that's a lot of time
the whole
to get
year.
out of norm. Yeah, you know, that's a lot of time to get out of your norm already. You know, to try and find the new. You know, I've seen that. You know, people, schools, and you know, hospitals and just really big like organizations. I've seen that they're like moving into ways, trying to find ways into which they can move online and stuff. You know, like they're trying to change their normal. And so
the school shit is crazy. Like, imagine being in high school with this happening. That would have been low key a little more hype in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
I would have
been. I probably would have been a little
hyped. Yeah, hell yeah.
I probably would have been a little happy if I was in high school when this happened.
Yeah, except for the senior year, I would be that would be annoying to graduation.
Losing prom and graduation and everything. You know, graduation wherever you graduate from.
Yeah.
You know, whatever stage you graduate
unless
from.
Unless it's middle school, then it don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I know, bro. That was just.
It was
in the beginning when it happened, it was sad for us because we were just thinking about school, like as we said, school, and obviously
I didn't think it was gonna last till graduation.
Yeah, this is killing the restaurant. It's killing the restaurants too, man.
Yeah.
But no, the school. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Our senior year just got taken away. So like now that we are months away and like everyone's like, oh, we're college graduates now. Like I don't know, man. I consider myself. I finished college. I didn't graduate from college.
Like, I can't pull my diploma out of my back pocket and be like, yeah, I finished it.
You don't have it?
I don't have it. I still don't even have mine.
Oh, I have mine. I don't know where it is.
I still don't even have
it doesn't mean anything. Like it just. I know that sounds very like
right, privileged and like but if you're in if you're in that situation, you know, and you work that hard 4 years, you know,
yeah,
and then you get to the point where it's just all like
taken away.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not taken away, but it wasn't celebrated, and it's
it was taken away.
Yeah, exactly.
You can say it was
in the end of the year. Well, I mean, I had so many.
Any
more
college
memories.
graduate would be like,
dude, I was supposed to go to Montreal with my boys for
right.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
For our formal, and
that's what I'm saying. I worked that hard. You know, I wanted my family, my friends, everybody I love to be there and see me graduate. You know, and it just wasn't that. You know, we got to celebrate over a computer.
That's one thing. It was going back to Kobe. That's what James Worthy said. A really good quote. I won't forget. He said, "Some things you won't ever be able to get over it, but you just got to learn how to live with it." And that's how I say graduation. That's just not gonna ever, unless we have some kind of ceremony.
Yeah.
Because like my parents dropped me off my first day at UMass sophomore year. When I transferred or exchanged, and then never came back to see the school ever again. Never got to see all my friends I made. Never got to see the houses I lived at. Never got to see the journey that I had. And I just sucked because it was also other parents. You know, I stayed at my friends' houses for Thanksgiving, and you know, I never got to thank them properly. I never got to get them a gift or anything like that. A big celebration with my friends to culminate what we've done, and not in Los Angeles, in Massachusetts, where became my second home.
Right.
And to have that not happen, like I remember just coming home and seeing my family, and I had never missed my family so much. I never really, you know, it sounds ignorant or It sounds mean, I should say, but I never really miss my family when I'm in college. I'm just having so much fun.
I feel you. You're not worried about that.
I mean, I do miss my family, but like I'm not like dying to see them. But there was times during this, man, I was dying to see my family. I miss them because starting with Kobe and then all that stuff too. It's like what I stayed in and
just want to feel the love.
Yeah, I stayed in Amherst for a couple more months just to. And you know what's crazy? Just soaking in with all my friends because I knew I wasn't gonna live there anymore. And you know what's crazy was I started to think like there was a period in between when college was basically done and when I came back home. I'm like, I just want to start my podcast now. Like I've had this dream for a while, but I've never told anybody about it. I was only telling you guys in the chat that I was gonna start a podcast when I came back home. And I just wanted to get it going. So like within weeks of me getting home in mid-May.
I remember.
We got that shit going.
You started getting it up.
We got that shit going, and that's the one. Honestly, the only thing that can come out of, besides the Dodgers winning the World Series, that can come out of the 2020 year for me was starting this, obviously.
Right.
Because this will always, and I remember that my first podcast about I don't want the bubble to start. Mm-hmm. So
the glorified summer league.
The glorified summer league. That's right. So transitioning from college and schools and stuff to life in the midst of the Rona, when it's like, okay, we're starting to figure out what this is. We're all going to wear masks 6 feet apart. Yeah. You know, it started to get controlled for a bit. What do you think about, what did you think of the bubble looking back at it all? Were you happy it happened? Or you disappointed it happened?
I know you're not too hype on the bubble.
Your boy is Russ, and that bubble did not do him any favors. No, completely out of rhythm.
No, and we were really the only ones to notice that he was actually doing really good.
Amazing.
He looked like he's the best player on the Rockets before the bubble. 100% for a good little stretch.
100%. 2020 was unreal. It was the best Westbrook I'd ever seen.
Yeah. I wouldn't say ever, but he was good. He was definitely
in
really
terms
good.
of not settling for threes and kind of just like knowing his game. Yeah. Just taking people like
taking what the game gives him.
Best Westbrook I've seen in years, I should say.
Yeah, since MVP.
Yeah, since MVP.
But just to go back on your question about the bubble, I liked it. You know, I played a lot of basketball obviously when I was younger, but more specifically AAU basketball, and that it kind of just gave me a feel for AAU basketball. I'm not saying that, you know, I never had any fans or was always playing in front of an empty gym or whatever, but, you know, it gives you that feel like you can hear everything on the court. You can feel everything on the court. You know, it's more raw. It's more genuine, you know. Obviously, they were doing a lot more for money, you know, because they were, you know, losing out on money and, you know, things of that nature. But I really liked the bubble. You know, I really liked the fact that they were able to keep it COVID clear.
That was the most impressive.
That's impressive.
Part.
You know, that's a big win for the NBA. That's a very big win for the NBA. And so just everything that piled into, you know, there was obviously some things that they could have, you know, done better or changed, you know, to make it, you know, more entertaining. Or,
I think they did
whatever. But you know, for the first time around in the middle of a pandemic,
hopefully
you know,
first and only time. I don't ever see that generic ass court ever again.
True. I'm surprised that they're not back in the bubble. I was surprised that they why couldn't they do what they're doing now, you know, instead of the bubble? I don't know. I have a lot of I would have rather it be
stadiums are better,
you know, and they're still in their actual stadiums and traveling and everything.
They're just risks, you know. I just, you know, we're recording this right now, and OKC and Houston haven't even played a game yet.
Yeah, true. Because Rockets didn't have 8 players?
Something
like that. But.
So it's already affecting the season, but you know what? Yeah. Football's been able to get it going. Soccer around the world's been able to get. And that's another thing about this is like we're talking about terrible tragedies in America and stuff, and 9/11 and stuff like that always comes to mind. But this is a not just an American thing. It's a worldwide, global, affecting everybody in the world in every country. Already, bro, over 1 million people dead. Like that shit's crazy. Do you know any people that have like around you that have contracted it or like?
I know a few people who have gotten it, but I don't know anybody who is you know suffered severely from it.
Yeah,
who has suffered,
same here.
Like you know like
same here.
Like Carl Anthony Towns.
Mostly our age.
I pray for him.
Do you know other people that are like older or not?
That have gotten it?
Actually, so do I, low key.
What?
Like friends' parents and stuff that are like 50, 60 that have gone in.
Okay, I honestly don't know. I know one of my best friends, his like really close, I guess you could call her his aunt. She got it, and she was actually hit pretty hard from it. She was in the hospital, and you know, she was pretty down bad, but she made it out. You know, it took her like 2.5 months, and this was towards like the beginning part. Of the pandemic and everything. It was like April, May, around that time, and she was in the hospital pretty bad. She was in Atlanta, and it was pretty bad, you know. And that was the first time where I was like, okay, this is a little serious, you know. Like, like I see how this is my best friend, you know, and he's like, you know, pray for my aunt, you know, she's down bad, you know, and whoop-de-whoop. So that was the first time it probably hit me like, dang, like, this, this is real.
Yeah.
I never had anybody who was, like directly impacted from it. That was, in my camp, in my
circle.
immediate, circle. We had a few people who had got it, like, a few of our friends.
Yeah.
Who had got it, and here today, gone tomorrow. But at the end of the day, you still gotta take it seriously. At the beginning, when everybody was rushing to the grocery stores and
that was crazy.
Toilet
paper,
cleaning,
isopro.
Man, like clearing it out. I'm like, what are you fools doing? Like, why are you going on a hibernate? For something that's gonna be here today, gone tomorrow. And 9 months in, I'm looking back like, dang, like. I just pray for everybody who's gotten it. I'm grateful that I haven't,
Yeah, I haven't either.
I'm grateful that, my immediate family and friends, really haven't gotten it. And, haven't gotten it and, contracted it, to the point where it was, severe and really detrimental. But, yeah, you just got to take it serious. You got to be safe, got to move accordingly. But, yeah, I'm very grateful for the fact that we're 9 months in, and both you and I really haven't had any
serious
serious inquiries.
What about so let's talk about a moment that was really big in the middle of the bubble, and we had a huge, our chat was blowing up.
Yeah.
The whole George Floyd and all the racial injustice protests and all that shit was going crazy in LA.
Yeah.
I remember I was at your house and people were talking about going some for the right, some for the wrong reasons.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You're talking about when
that was when I first came
we were
back.
going to like Santa Monica and downtown and everything, and
Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills was going
Melrose.
crazy.
Yeah,
that was when we were like, cases are about to go skyrocketing.
And surprisingly, they didn't.
They didn't go too bad. They went up a little bit, but nothing as crazy as I thought.
Yeah, they said they didn't have any
that was a crazy
any direct reports from the protests.
Yeah,
to,
that was a crazy time in America, though, man.
Yeah, it was crazy, and obviously, being a young black male in America. It was crazy, like I've experienced, both of us have experienced, plenty of racial,
you a lot worse than me.
Yeah, plenty of racial inequalities and situations, where you just have to be the bigger man, and suck it up. But that was, just in the midst of a pandemic, with Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and everybody else, R.I.P. It was just crazy, and growing up, in a black household, you're taught these things. You're taught to understand. You don't have to accept it, but you're taught to understand that this is
reality.
happening. This is the reality. So for you to be hearing it, and then seeing it, it's just crazy. It's surreal, in a bad way. In a very blissful way. But in a bad way. I just don't get it, man. I just don't understand.
Have you? Okay, so I remember in the chat we were talking, and it's interesting with you. Sometimes you'll be on the side of like, yeah, we are. You just like, I want to say, like obviously you talk about
devil's advocate.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I don't want to sound like this. You don't play devil's advocate against black people. You're just like. Yeah. I feel like we're too sorry. This is just your words, not mine.
Yeah.
We're just too. We feel too sorry for ourselves sometimes. They always want to make excuses about how the system's out to get us, but don't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a. What do you think the whole? What is the? I don't know how to say this, but like, what do you think is the right way to go about that? And what do you think? Do you think there are certain black people that maybe exaggerate, or do you think that the people that are playing devil's advocate are wrong because you're being ignorant for saying that? I remember when the bubble was happening and the whole thing was, they were talking about shutting it down. At first, I was like, this is good. Everyone's talking about this, what the problems are in our country with racism and all that, because it's really serious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's serious everywhere, not just in America, but.
Of course.
And I remember at first you were like, no, I think that them playing in the bubble will raise awareness and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was saying that, like, I just feel as though people are going to talk about basketball. And,
like
and
they're
looking back at it, I know they had Black Lives Matter on the court and stuff, but looking back at it, I feel like when the bubble started, we kind of still more talked about basketball than the actual stuff that was happening.
For sure.
And then I remember you start to think, like, I talked to my dad, he was explaining stuff to me. So take away your whole thing on that. It's something we go back and forth in the chat. You have some people in our chat that are very,
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like I'm all, you know me. I'm
And
always
and
for.
let me just say, my bad to interrupt
No,
you.
you're good.
And you've had some, whether you want to share or not, it's up to you. You've had some stories where you told us about like people being like really, not necessarily in LA, but other places being really racist. So you've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. I've been on the wrong side of a gun. You know, on the wrong side of a lot of situations. And you know, sometimes were my fault. You know, sometimes they weren't. But at the end of the day, like that just takes me back to what I was gonna start off my point by saying. You just gotta work harder. You know, you gotta work as a minority. You know, any kind of minority. Especially like I mentioned earlier. I've been having these conversations since I was young. You know, since I was very, very young. My dad and mom installed these kind of conversations and situations in my head since a young age. So, I've just always been the kind of person. I really appreciate people who can do more with less. You know, I really appreciate
even in the basketball sense.
Even on the basketball court. I really appreciate people who, you know, they understand the situation. They, 1, don't complain about it. 2, get better from it. And 3, inspire others to do the same, you know? And so, with that being said, I just feel like as a black community, as a minority community, you know, as a whole in America, you know, you have to understand you don't have privilege. The starting line, you know, is back here for you, and it's up here for some people. You just have to understand that. You know, there's sometimes where you can't change that. You know, like you said with the James Worthy quote. You know, there's just some stuff you gotta move on from it. You know, you gotta understand it and move on from it. And so I don't ever think that, you know, black people, you know, they ask for too much, or minorities as a whole, they ask for too much. But at the end of the day, I definitely do think that, you know, we need to just work harder. Not saying that we don't work hard already, but we need to work 2 times as hard as, you know, the normal person. Because stuff like that, you know, the George Floyd, you know, protest that happened, you know, because they see that we're working hard. You know, they see that, and we got, you know, well, not we got, but, well, anyways, we just need to work harder. You know, I just feel like working 2 times as hard is, and I think it's a reward in itself.
And that's the problem that black people or minorities are gonna have, is that they think like their whole point, and they're right about it, is like we shouldn't have to work harder than white people or this and that.
Yeah, we shouldn't.
But like what you're trying to say is like until the time that it's equal, that we may be fucking dead, bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So we always talk about is like there's racism everywhere, even in LA.
Right.
But that's one thing I love about LA is that we have so much diversity.
Yeah.
So much diversity is great. Like going to a public school in LA. Yeah. No matter where it is, if it's a public school in LA, you're gonna have kids from everywhere, all over the city, all different races. I'm so happy I
didn't go to. I said this in my first episode, but I'm so happy I didn't go to private school ever. Like nothing against people that went to private school, but I just feel as though you get a lot more realistic view of what the city's actually like.
A lot more of
what the world's like,
you know, outlook. Because private, you know, private and really even Catholic school. So I went to a private Catholic school. It's just a lot more, a lot less freedom, I guess. You know, it's a lot less diversity for the most part. But in LA, regardless, you know, if you're, you know, it's you're gonna get a lot of that regardless anywhere in LA. You know, diversity and freedom. But at the end of the day, I definitely do cherish my public school days.
But you know what's even crazy about public school is that you could see fucking segregation type shit, like not organized segregation, but like at our school, like,
for sure.
You know, white kids are hanging out on the quad, white kids
you're hanging out over here, you're hanging out over here, you're hanging out over here. You know, this is your designated head.
But like not friend. Typically, you'd think it's friend groups, but it's not just friend groups. It's like Oh, here's another thing. Do you think that I remember my first day of 6th grade. Mm-hmm. One of my friends from childhood came out to me and is like, "Darian, come sit at the Persian table." I'm like, I ain't sitting at no exclusive ass like type shit. Like, do you think that oftentimes as minorities, with whatever race it is, whether it be Iranians with Iranians, Latinos with Latinos, black people with black people, we're hesitant to try to go out and make friends with people in other races? Because I also feel as though that's another thing. Like when I first started hanging out with all you guys, remember my other friends in the beginning were like questioning it a bit. I'm like, why y'all got even? What difference does it make? Yeah. What difference? Yeah.
Like
anyway,
they got a heartbeat just like you.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely think that. I don't think that. Certain groups. I don't think any group really refuses. Well, I can't say any group, but I don't think a lot of people refuse to like go out and make friends and connections with people of other races and other makes. But I think that, you know, when you're so familiar and you grow a connection, you know, with a certain way of living, with a certain,
Yeah,
you know,
you're comfortable with those people.
You know, you're comfortable with that.
100%.
You know, like I can walk into, you know, like a black household and
Relate automatically?
And relate, you know, and know that you know, there's some topic of discussion that I can have with them that I can't have with, you know, a household of, you know, white descent or Iranian descent or Mexican descent or whatever, you know, whatever the case may be. You know, I just think that people relate to comfortability at the end of the day. And so, me personally, I'm grateful that, you know, I've grown up to the point where I'm comfortable with anybody. You know, I can have a conversation with anybody. You know, I can go out and you know, have a beer with anybody or you know, go shoot hoops with anyone, you know, with anybody.
Yeah.
And so I don't
You're
minimize my relationships.
No, you're definitely not one of those people.
Yeah, you know, I don't minimize my relationships, and so I don't think that people. I don't think it's the fact that people, you know, like they don't want to go out, you know, and be comfortable with other groups of people, but I definitely see it as like I can off the bat, you know, I can relate to you, you know, so I'm going to gravitate towards you, you know, just because it's going to make me more comfortable. So yeah, I don't think that people have, you know, like ill will, especially in LA, you know, especially in LA.
I wouldn't even say it's ill will, but I just feel like, I don't know. Sometimes it's definitely a case by case thing.
Yeah, for sure.
But some people, like I remember, like one of our guests we're gonna have on soon enough.
Yeah.
Blake was saying. He was saying, like, I don't remember who he was talking about, but he was like, he only messes with, like, if he's not black, he'll be hesitant to fuck with you, type shit. Yeah. And like I remember I was at a homie's birthday, and I was the only non-black person there. I didn't feel uncomfortable at all though, but that's because I've been so like used to being in that.
Yeah, you've been trained to be
in that situation. I don't care. I don't even think about it like that. But some people would feel a certain way in those situations.
Oh, for sure. I'm not gonna lie. I do sometimes. You know, like if I'm.
You're the only white kind of white.
Yeah,
all white
I went to a predominantly white institution, in Loyola Marymount University, and there were times where, I was the only black person in the class, or only black person, you know, walking to class or in the library or whatever the case may be. There was a lot of times where I was the only black person around, and it's definitely uncomfortable. It definitely pushes you, you know, to get out of your comfort zone and get out of your shell. But once you know, like you said, once you go through it so much, and once you experience it so much, you know the right and wrong things to say. You know the right and wrong things to do. You know what kind of act you have to put on, you know, to make sure, you know, you are, you know, validated, I guess, in a sense, for lack of better words. But yeah, I guess it's really just like, you know, the more you're around, you know, the more you're trained to
be in those,
you know, to be in those positions.
It can be uncomfortable, but once again, it's with anything in life, like being uncomfortable is a good thing.
It's
you
growth.
know, is a good thing. Exactly. You got to be uncomfortable.
And that's 2020 in a whole.
Yeah.
You know, being uncomfortable.
Definitely
grew from it too.
So I don't want to get we're not gonna get too political on here, but the last thing of note was the election. That sparked a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty funny seeing the whole saga of
crazy way to end off 2020.
This was the first time in our time. I mean, people want to talk about it with George W. Bush and Al Gore in the 2000 election? Yeah. It was the 2000 election. This was the first time that we went to sleep and we didn't know who the president was going to be.
Yeah.
Because with Obama and Trump the first time, we knew it the night of.
Yeah, we knew.
So there was a couple of days, and it was crazy. Obviously, the whole Trump saga is done. It was a very eventful 4 years, to say the least. Very eventful. There was a lot of...
It lasted our whole college experience. That's crazy.
It's crazy to think about, bro.
Yeah, it lasted literally our whole college experience.
For us that are not, like, paying the bills and all that stuff yet, a lot of times the politics don't affect our lives.
Right.
But when I got detained at the border, that was the first time I was like, whoa, like, whoever our president is, that shit is real. Like, it can affect you.
For sure.
It can affect people of our age, I should say. But we're going to definitely face the realness very soon.
Yeah, for sure.
However, yeah, it was pretty funny. I mean, I will say, politics aside, though, just the humor of it. Trump did have some great, funny moments.
Yeah.
Definitely some great, funny moments.
Yeah.
Definitely some stuff that wasn't
he was
very
a character.
funny either. But yeah, that's the best way to put it. He was a character for sure.
His movie star.
He's
saga.
Polarizing as, like, if you think LeBron James is polarizing, Trump is a whole different planet.
Got a whole country polarized.
that rally, bro.
Right.
What was it? What a great crowd here in Philly.
Yeah, he's a character.
LeBron.
He's a character for sure.
That was hilarious, but yeah. So
but he's out of there.
A new era,
He's done. Yeah, Biden 2020, huh?
Yeah, new era.
That was crazy. I'm surprised. I'm honestly
still talking about it too, though.
Yeah.
It's so,
and still talking about how he thinks he won.
Dude, have you seen the tweets when it's when like he'll tweet something and then they'll have like the votes of this like a fraudulent?
Like
so they have to like send
this tweet.
Twitter's more accurate than the president.
Yeah,
now.
than the president. Yeah, they're checking his tweets like, yo, like this is fraudulent. You need to stop.
Fraudulent behavior.
Yeah, I'm actually very surprised that Biden won though. I'm
really.
Yeah, I'm genuinely surprised because, from 2016 to now, I feel like me personally. I know a lot of people that jumped onto the Trump, wagon. Like they
especially with this Rona. There was because there's some people that are like, I shouldn't take it seriously. Some that I should, and that's caused us a big rift.
Yeah,
in terms
and then the whole unemployment. Everybody thinks that he's sending them out money and got this $3 trillion.
I didn't do that. Did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, my boy keeps telling me to.
Yeah, everybody. I'm hearing they're doing the second round of it, but yeah. We'll see. But everybody thinks that, since he was sending them money, got this $3 trillion aid package, that he's the best ever. So I thought that, he had gained a lot more support than, he did in 2016.
Yeah, like I feel like there were people like a lot of people that thought it was going to be a total train wreck didn't think it was a total train wreck.
Yeah.
As what you're saying. But anyway, so now that we are at the end, I can't believe we really are at the end.
Yeah. What is it, 5 days left till 2021?
Can you believe it, man?
I can't believe it.
I
can't believe it. I feel like Kobe, passed away yesterday.
Yeah, but also
that feels like the beginning of my downfall. Well, not my downfall, but 2020's downfall.
But this whole 9 months, this has not felt like 9 months to me. It's felt a long time.
It doesn't feel like it's December. Even yesterday didn't feel like, it didn't feel like Christmas.
Yeah, it's just, it's a year that I said it's felt like 3 years. And
yeah, for sure.
It's really felt so long, and just not having to see 2020 anymore. Like, it'll always be the year that changed everybody's life because of this coronavirus, but
the year that everybody will remember.
And 2021, man.
Start off the decade.
Can't get worse, right?
Right. I hope not.
First full year of Dime Dropper as well.
I hope not. Right. Yeah.
First full year, first full NBA season.
We got the
season back up and running. What are you thinking so far?
I'm liking it. My biggest shocker is the Warriors. I'm so very surprised that they are not doing good right now.
Hey, but
I'm not even a Steph fan.
At the time of filming right now, the Warriors are 0-2 and they lost to the Nets and the Bucks. Yeah. We got to give them a little.
But lost like
badly. Okay, well, guess what?
And don't look good.
No Draymond, but they got the Bulls next. And if they don't beat the Bulls, then we can then the jury's really out.
Yeah, then that's a real That's a real eye opener.
Really random.
That's a real eye opener.
But give me one early championship winner. I know it's really a crapshoot because we've only seen 2 games. Early championship winner, and then give me somebody you want to see, do something that he hasn't done yet, whether it be make the All-Star team for the first time or put himself in a conversation that he hasn't done. Yeah.
Shoot. Early prediction for 2020, 2021 champions. I'm going to have to go with the repeat Los Angeles Lakers just because I was listening to, I don't know if it was ESPN or TNT or some after post-game like interview or dialogue that they were having. And it's not often that the champions in a very shortened offseason as well. It's not often that the NBA champions get that much better. I'm not going to say that they I'm not,
On paper.
On paper, yeah. On paper, yeah. True, very true. But to gain the by far the 2 top 6 Man of the Year candidates, you got a Defense Player of the Year and Marc Gasol. He's not,
have you seen him lately?
Yeah, he's not the greatest, but he's still out there making outstanding passes. He's
not yet. Not yet. We haven't seen it yet.
I've seen him make a few good passes. But Marc Gasol, Wesley Matthews isn't all that, but he's a little. I would say he's a little bit of an upgrade from Danny Green.
That's what I thought. So far, we haven't seen it yet.
He's been driving a little more than Danny Green. I like his driving kicks. He's a little more aggressive. But yeah, the Lakers, I personally think that they've got a tad bit better, for a championship. But the Nets
look
like they could give them a run, and I am not the biggest KD or
they're a polarizing team.
And
People either love them or hate them. I'm kind of one of the rare.
Hate them, you're gonna be watching them.
Oh, that's for me. It's actually weird. I started out not wanting him to do anything, but the more I've been saying it, man. Kyrie's growing on me.
Yeah,
he's kind of growing on me.
I feel you. If he keeps playing like this,
bit too, because
if he keeps playing like this, man. Yeah, I don't know what to say. If he keeps playing like that, he's gonna be a problem. He's gonna be a fan favorite for everybody for sure.
It's really just a matter of. Is he? I always said the problem with me is he buying into being KD's right hand man,
and it looks like he is.
Right now, it's like he's been 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, right now
he had like 40 yesterday.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of this is the regular season though. We'll see if in the playoffs it's like.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I'm not talking about the regular season. I'm talking about in the playoffs. Will there be times that Kevin's like, all right, Kyrie, you're doing too much. Give me the ball. This is my team. Or will that hurt them?
Yeah.
Or will he just be so good offensively?
I mean, he said, you know what he
be asking for the ball.
You heard what he said, and what hurt LeBron's feelings a little bit.
That was a little bit uncalled for.
It was a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's a business, and in a business you don't really have friends, and so I don't know.
I thought they were friends, but
yeah, I was gonna say I don't know his relationship with LeBron. I don't know how they ended off. But I know that when they were in Cleveland together, obviously LeBron rubbed him, a little bit of the wrong way.
Definitely.
But at the end of the day, as going back to my point, he brought up, hey, this is the first time where I felt like I don't need to take that shot.
Yeah.
I don't need the ball in my hands, to win. I trust my partner, my teammate, to handle that for me, and that goes a long way. In the playoffs, and that's an unselfish mindset,
Yeah. And this is the first guy since LeBron, or besides LeBron in Kyrie's career, the only other guy that he's kind of giving him the respect of.
That Kyrie wasn't better than, really.
Yeah, and he actually shows to respect him. But that's the thing we always criticize Kyrie. The players that aren't as good as you, how do you galvanize them and stuff? He hasn't been good at doing that.
Yeah, he's not the best at that.
His 1 year with the Nets that he played, and then his year with the Celtics.
Yeah, he's no Russ or Dame when it comes to that, but
anyway,
he's got the skill set.
Before we end off, another thing I just wanted to mention, because it was actually a good source of passing the time during the quarantine, was The Last Dance. Last Dance was a good, nice little nice little thing. It inspired me to go back and start watching more footage and everything.
Yeah.
So that was part of it. But yeah, what'd you think of that? That was fun.
I loved it.
I know. I can't believe that there was one thing you told me that I couldn't believe is that what you took away from the documentary was how good Scottie Pippen was when they kind of seemed to try to put him down.
They did, and for the most part, if they would have really not tried to do that, it really would have enhanced my view on Scottie Pippen. The one thing I took away from that I didn't like about Scottie Pippen though, obviously, was when Kukoc took the last shot and he was had his little moody pouty moment, but. Yeah, at the end of the day, that's that. I know you remember me saying that, but The Last Dance really, the main thing I took from The Last Dance, it showed me was that LeBron. I know some people aren't gonna like this, but how much LeBron really he really is the GOAT to me, because Jordan really needed Pippen. At the end of the day, The Last Dance showed me that Jordan. I never knew, the fact that Jordan really never, he was great. He was dropping 63 in the playoffs, and losing, getting swept. He was doing all that he could. He was doing more with less. He was doing a lot with less. But at the end of the day, he could never get over the Celtics, never get over the Pistons, until Scottie got there, and it just made me realize,
Even when Scottie got there, they didn't.
They didn't. No, it still took them a minute.
Phil got there, really.
Yeah, until what? Like when Scotty's first year of being an All-Star?
1990, they made it to the conference finals and played them. But I think they made it to the conference finals in '89. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I know 90 though. That was their last year of not making it.
Yeah,
for sure. And that was the year the Pistons won.
Yeah, it really just inspired me to just watch more footage, though. To be honest.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
The documentary will show us what they want.
As you have been. You've been good.
But I haven't stopped it now. And now that I'm watching so many of these teams, man, it's like, fuck.
Yeah, I feel it's hard. It's hard.
But yeah.
But you're doing it, a lot more than anybody I know, and that goes for, people of more about the '60s and people who were born in the '60s. More about people, more about the '80s, and my even my dad, who was born in the '70s, and
they always are gonna have a
different mindset,
slightly more accurate in terms of
because they were there in real time.
But what was the perception of everything and everything like that? But anyway, all right, I guess make sure Thanks for coming on, bro.
Thank you for having me, man.
It's not the first time. We'll add you to the Rogues
Not the
Gallery
first, not the last.
characters. Just remember to subscribe. Tell me what you thought of this episode. This was a different episode, not basketball related. Tell me what you think. If you want to follow this man on Twitter, he has a lot of cryptic tweets under their username at Kulo.
Kuho, that's me, big dog. But at 5H6NE. It's a little reference to Future. Shout out my man Future. But I'm proud to be here, like I said. Glad to be here. Y'all keep it up with this man. He's a great man, great speaker, great advocate for basketball. Very, very, very knowledgeable man, guru of the game.
Guru style.
So, yeah.
Remember, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and I'll wish you and everybody a safe and happy 2021.
Yeah.
And just remember that we're always balling.
Yeah.
Like Tony Kukoc.
Coach.